The night was cold, darker than usual, and the wind moved like something alive. The small human shelter stood half broken on the edge of the alien forest. Inside the shelter, everything was silent except the slow, weak breathing of a man named Evan. He lay on the metal floor, his clothes torn, his face covered with dirt and dried blood. He looked like someone who had fought for many hours and had no strength left, but he was not alone. Two tiny twins, no more than 4 years old, slept on his chest. Their small hands were tightly holding Evan's shirt, as if they were afraid he would disappear if they let go. Their soft breathing was the only gentle sound in the room. Evan's arm was wrapped around them, even though he was unconscious. Instinct was stronger than pain. Even while fainted, his body was guarding them. Outside the shelter, the night suddenly changed. A strange metallic sound echoed through the air, a marching sound. Heavy boots. Armor clashing. The kind of sound that did not belong to humans, it belonged to aliens. The ground vibrated as a squad of alien warriors approached the shelter. Their armor glowed with cold blue lights. Their weapons were sharp, silent, deadly. Their faces were hidden behind masks designed to strike fear. These soldiers were trained for only one purpose: eliminate enemies without emotion. And tonight, their target was simple: find the last human. Kill him. The warrior leader, a tall alien named Commander Raykor, lifted his hand, signaling the squad to stop. His black eyes scanned the destroyed environment. He expected traps, ambushes, or another human defense line. But there was nothing. Only the quiet wind and the broken shelter, door hanging loosely on its hinges. He gave another hand signal. The squad spread out, silent and perfect. They moved like shadows, entering the shelter from different angles. Their steps made no sound, but the air around them felt heavier. Inside, they expected to find a human ready to fight, maybe aiming a weapon, maybe hiding, maybe preparing to escape. Instead, they saw the impossible. In the dim light, Evan lay on the floor with the twins sleeping peacefully on him. The alien warriors froze in their tracks. Their weapons were raised, ready to fire, but now they didn't move. Commander Raykor narrowed his eyes. This was not what he trained for. Humans fought fiercely. Humans resisted. Humans never let their guard down, but this human was unconscious, and the children were sleeping on him like they trusted him with their lives. One warrior stepped forward, confused. "Commander, is this the target?" Raykor did not answer. His gaze moved slowly from Evan's injuries to the twins' soft faces. He noticed the deep claw marks on Evan's back, wounds that came from shielding the kids during an earlier attack. He also noticed one twin holding Evan's finger with both hands, refusing to let go even in sleep. This scene created a strange tension in the room. A tension none of the alien soldiers understood. War taught them that humans were dangerous, violent, selfish. But this human was protecting children. Raykor lowered his weapon slightly, confused by the emotion rising inside him, something he was never trained to feel. Why is he guarding them? Another warrior whispered. Before anyone could answer, one of the twins slowly opened her eyes. She blinked at the bright blue armor around her. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just whispered in a soft, sleepy voice, "Daddy?" Every alien in the room stiffened. Some even stepped back. Commander Raykor felt something unfamiliar twist inside his chest. This was not just a battlefield situation. This was something else. Something deep. Something dangerous to their beliefs. No one spoke again. No one pulled the trigger. They simply stood there, stunned, staring at a human father and two innocent children, unable to understand how a moment so gentle had entered a world built on war. But this silence, this hesitation, was only the beginning, because someone even more powerful was on her way, the Queen, and she did not believe in mercy. The silence inside the shelter felt heavier than the cold wind outside. Alien warriors stood frozen, their weapons still raised but their hands unable to move. None of them had ever trained for this. A human lying wounded, two small twins resting on his chest like he was the safest place in the entire galaxy. Commander Rekor kept staring at the children. They were tiny, fragile, but strangely calm. Their quiet breathing filled the room more loudly than any weapon sound. Then it happened. The second twin woke up. Little boy with soft hair blinked his eyes open and looked around with sleepy confusion. His small fingers were still gripping Evan's shirt. When he saw the aliens, he didn't scream. Instead, he rubbed his eyes and whispered, "Are you here to help, Daddy?" The alien stiffened. The commander felt something hit him inside, not physically, but emotionally, a feeling he had never allowed himself to experience. The innocence in the child's voice made his chest tighten. These children were not afraid. They trusted the human. Why? Commander Rekor stepped forward, slowly lowering his weapon. His voice, usually sharp and cold, softened without him wanting it to. "We are not here to harm the young ones." The boy blinked again, confused. "Daddy saved us. Please don't hurt him." The words pierced the room like a blade. The soldiers looked at each other. The human saved them? That made no sense. Their training told them humans only fought for themselves. Commander Rekor looked down at Evan again. The man was breathing weakly, but the way his arms wrapped around the children showed a clear truth. He didn't find these twins by accident. He protected them. He shielded them from danger. He carried them through the storm outside. One warrior whispered, "Commander, he must have gone through the eastern ruins. No one survives that place." Another added, "Those wounds. He took them for the children." Rekor felt something shift inside the soldiers. A tiny spark of respect, something no human had ever earned from them. He didn't like the feeling, but he couldn't stop it. Suddenly, Evan groaned softly. He opened his eyes, slow and heavy, as if waking from a dream. His vision was blurry, but he saw tall armored figures, aliens, standing around him. His entire body tense. His first move wasn't to defend himself. It wasn't to reach for a weapon. It was to pull the children closer, even half-conscious. Evan's only instinct was to protect the twins. Rekor raised his hand quickly. "Do not harm him. Do not move." Evan's dry voice whispered, "Please, don't take them. They're scared." His words were weak, but the emotion behind them was strong. He didn't ask for his life. He didn't beg for mercy. He only begged for the twins. One of the alien soldiers, a younger one, whispered under his breath, almost in disbelief, "Why would a human protect alien children?" Evan heard him. Even with pain tightening his body, he forced his eyes upward and spoke with a shaky voice. "They were alone, crying, lost. I couldn't just leave them." The aliens were stunned. Humans never risked themselves for alien children. It didn't make sense. It broke every belief the warriors had been taught. The little girl sat up, touching Evan's face gently. "Daddy, you're hurting." Her small voice filled the room with something no alien weapon could create. Warmth. Commander Rekor felt his chest tighten again. He took a slow breath. He needed to regain control before emotion weakened the unit. "We will not harm your father," he said, choosing the word carefully. The children relaxed slightly, but Evan did not. His eyes stayed focused, watching every alien move, ready to shield the twins again even though he couldn't stand up. Rekor studied him. This human wasn't dangerous because of strength. He was dangerous because of heart. And that was something far more unpredictable. Suddenly, a loud metallic roar echoed from outside, a sound that shook the warriors to their core. The Queen's ship had landed. "Commander." Rekor felt the air grow colder. "The Queen has arrived," he said quietly. The soldiers stepped back. The children tightened their grip on Evan, The human's breath grew unsteady, because everyone in that room knew one thing: where the warriors hesitated, the queen never would. The air inside the shelter changed the moment the queen's ship touched the ground. Even the walls seemed to shiver. A deep humming sound filled the night, vibrating through metal, through dust, through bone. The alien warriors straightened their posture instantly, fear and respect rising in them like a silent wave. Commander Rykor's voice tightened. "She is here." Evan felt the temperature drop. The twins pressed closer against him. He didn't know who was arriving, but he felt the danger like fire in his chest. His arms tightened around the children, even though the movement sent pain shooting through his ribs. Outside, the heavy footsteps of royal guards echoed louder. Sharper, more disciplined than the regular soldiers. Their armor glowed with a deeper shade of blue, marked with ancient symbols. They stood in 2 straight lines at the shelter entrance. Then she walked in, the alien queen. She was tall, almost twice the height of a human. Her armor looked like living metal, moving gently with her breath. Her eyes were bright and sharp, glowing like 2 cold stars. She carried a presence that filled the entire room. One look at her, and you could feel centuries of power, war, and command. Her footsteps were slow and controlled, but each one carried authority strong enough to make even the bravest warrior tremble. Commander Rykor bowed deeply. "My queen, we located the target." Her voice was calm but deadly. "Then why is he still breathing?" The room froze. Even Rykor swallowed. "We found him in an unexpected condition." The queen's eyes shifted to Evan, lying on the floor with the twins wrapped around him. Her gaze sharpened instantly, but not with curiosity, with anger. She stepped forward. "They are touching him." Her voice sounded dangerous. To her, the scene was not strange, it was offensive. A human, the enemy of her empire, holding children? Allowing children to sleep on him. Evan saw her expression and knew immediately. This woman would kill him without hesitation. He pushed himself up slightly, groaning in pain but still shielding the twins. The queen stopped. The movement was small, but every warrior noticed. The little girl looked up at the tall queen with innocent eyes. "Don't hurt Daddy." The queen's eyes widened. It was not the words. It was the way the girl said Daddy, with love, with trust, with safety. The queen's jaw tightened. Her voice cracked like lightning. "Commander, explain." Rykor breathed out slowly. "We believe the human protected them, my queen. The injuries on his body show that he shielded the children from the earlier attack." The queen turned sharply toward him. "Protected them? Humans do not protect our young." Rykor felt a strange courage rise in his chest, the kind that only truth could create. This one did. The queen stared at him for a long moment, then looked back at Evan. Evan met her eyes. He was weak, covered in wounds, barely able to sit up straight, but there was something unbreakable in his gaze. He spoke softly, voice dry but steady. "I didn't know who they were. I only knew they were scared. And alone." The queen felt something stir inside her, a memory, distant and painful. A memory of 2 small children, lost long ago. "You expect me to believe a human would risk his life for alien young?" Evan didn't look away. "You don't have to believe it. Just look at them." The twins clutched him tighter. Their small hands held his torn shirt, their faces pressed against him. They didn't fear him. They trusted him completely. The queen stared at the children. Something deep in her eyes flickered, a crack in an emotionless wall. One of the royal guards spoke quietly. "My queen, there have been rumors for years of your lost heirs." Her head snapped toward him. Silence. But the damage was done. The idea was already in her mind. She stepped closer to the twins. Her eyes softened, almost painfully. She reached out a hand, But the little boy hid his face in Evan's chest. The queen froze. Why were they afraid of her, but not afraid of him? Why did they feel safe with a human? This small, wounded man had created a bond her entire empire could not. Rykor spoke softly, risking everything. My queen. Perhaps the humans saved them, because they are more important than we understood. The queen's voice dropped to a whisper only she could hear. Could they be mine? Her heart hammered. If this was true, the war she built, the hate she carried, the death she ordered, everything would change. The queen stood perfectly still, her glowing eyes fixed on the twins hiding in Evan's arms. For the first time since she entered the shelter, the room did not feel controlled by her. It felt controlled by something else, something she had never expected to face again. Memory. Two tiny babies wrapped in soft blankets. Two small faces she had once kissed. Two heirs she had believed were dead. Her heart, a heart she had trained to be cold for years, trembled. Commander Rykor noticed the queen's rigid posture. He had served her for more than a decade and had never seen her hesitate. Never seen her doubt. Never seen fear in her eyes. He whispered, "My queen." The ages match. She didn't respond. Evan watched her carefully. He didn't know who she was. He didn't know what she was thinking. But he understood one thing: the twins were scared of her. So he held them closer, even though every muscle in his body screamed in pain. The queen's gaze fell on that simple movement. A wounded enemy soldier protecting children with everything he had left. A gesture she herself had not seen in her own empire for years. "Human," she said slowly, "tell me where you found them." Evan swallowed. His voice was rough, weak, but honest. "In the ruins east of the canyon. They were alone, crying, hungry. I couldn't leave them." The queen's face tightened. The eastern ruins were attacked during the rebellion. No one survived. Evan shook his head slightly. They survived, barely. The shelter grew colder as she tried to understand the impossible. Her own soldiers had searched those ruins, but never found the children. Yet a human, a creature she considered a threat, had carried them through storms and fire. One of the twins lifted her head and looked at the queen with wide eyes. "You're scary," she whispered. The queen flinched. Scary. Feared. Feared by her own blood. For the first time in years. Her chest felt heavy. She knelt slowly, something no soldier had ever witnessed. The warriors behind her stiffened in shock. The queen of an empire, kneeling in front of a wounded human and two small children. She extended her hand very gently. "I will not hurt you," she said softly. But the boy gripped Evan's shirt tighter and hid again. The girl whispered, "Daddy saved us. Daddy keeps us safe." The queen's hand froze mid-air. "Daddy, not human, not rescuer, not stranger. But Daddy." She pulled her hand back slowly. Her voice grew colder, heavier. "Do they think he is their father?" Commander Rykor nodded. "It appears so, my queen." She stared at Evan, studying every wound, every bruise, every blood stain. "You took injuries for them." Evan nodded slightly. "Anyone would." The queen's eyes hardened. "No, not anyone. Not even my own people." The warriors shifted uncomfortably. They knew her words were true. For years, the empire had been built on fear, rules, strength, not compassion. Their queen herself had become a symbol of power, not kindness. She looked at the twins again. Her voice almost broke. "They have my eyes." The room fell silent. Rykor stepped forward, speaking quietly but clearly. "My queen, if the twins are indeed your lost heirs, then everything we believed about this war is wrong." Evan blinked. "Your heirs?" The queen finally met his eyes. "Yes, human. My children. Taken from me during the rebellion. I believed your kind killed them." Evan shook his head firmly. Humans didn't harm them. When I found them, they were terrified and starving. I just carried them away from danger. The queen closed her eyes for a moment. In that silence, something inside her cracked open, the part of her that had been buried under anger, loss, and war. When she spoke again, her voice was no longer cold. It was soft. It was real. You saved them. Evan exhaled slowly. I tried. The queen stood, her decision forming like steel inside her heart. Commander Raykor, she said firmly, from this moment, the human is not an enemy. He is under royal protection. The warriors exchanged shocked glances. Raykor asked, My queen, does this mean? It means, she said, her eyes glowing brighter. Everything changes now. But deep inside, she knew the truth was only beginning. If the twins were hers, then the war she had built was based on a lie. The queen's command echoed inside the shelter like a shockwave. Every alien warrior lowered their weapon at once, but the tension in their bodies did not fade. None of them had ever heard such words from her before. Protecting a human? Calling off an execution? It felt unreal. Impossible. Frightening. Evan barely understood what was happening. He tried to sit up straighter, but the pain stabbed through his ribs like a burning knife. His vision blurred for a moment, and he sucked in a sharp breath. The twins immediately noticed. The girl touched his cheek. Daddy, you hurt. The boy hugged his arm. Don't go to sleep, Daddy. Evan tried to smile at them, even though his lips trembled. I'm okay. I promise. But the queen saw the truth. He was not okay. She stepped closer, studying him with sharp eyes. Your wounds are severe. If you lose more blood, you will not survive. Evan breathed slowly, holding the twins tighter. Just help them. Not me. The queen's eyes narrowed. You wish to save them, even if you die? Evan didn't hesitate. Yes. Commander Raykor felt a chill run down his spine. This human was unlike any he had ever fought. There was no fear in him. No hesitation. Only determination to protect the children. Children who were not even his species. One of the alien warriors whispered, My queen. He may not live much longer. The queen made a sharp motion with her hand. Bring the royal healer, immediately. The guard ran out. Inside the shelter. The queen knelt again, something that still shocked every soldier present, and gently touched the boy's hair. What is your name, child? The boy blinked at her. Leo, and yours? She asked softly, turning to the girl. Leah, she whispered. The queen closed her eyes. Leo and Leah, the name she had given her children at birth. The truth struck her. Heart with a force stronger than any. Weapon. These were her twins. Her heirs. Her blood. Her voice shook when she spoke again. You called the human your father. Why? Leah looked up, confused by the question. He found us alone. He carried us when our legs hurt. He gave us food. He held us when the cold came. Leo added softly, he didn't let the monsters hurt us. Evan lowered his head. I only did what anyone should do. No, the queen whispered, not anyone. Before Evan could respond, his body suddenly weakened. His arm, the one around Leo, trembled. His breath grew uneven. He leaned back against the broken wall, struggling to keep his eyes open. Leah grabbed his face with both hands. Daddy, wake up. Evan, Leo cried, shaking his arm. Commander Raykor stepped forward urgently. His body is failing, my queen. The queen clenched her fists. She wanted to scream at the universe, at fate, at herself, for letting this truth stay buried for so long. The royal healer arrived, a tall alien with glowing white gloves, carrying a box of strange medical instruments. He kneeled beside Evan and immediately began scanning him. The human has lost too much blood, the healer said. His ribs are cracked. His back wounds are severe. He should not even be conscious. Evan forced a weak smile. Had to protect them. The healer looked at the Queen. If we do not act now, he will die within minutes. The twins began crying softly, clinging to Evan like they were afraid he would disappear. Their small tears touched the Queen in a way she had not felt in years. A surge of emotion filled her chest, not anger, not fear, but something deeper. Something she had once lost. She pointed to Evan. Save him. The healer's eyes widened. Your Majesty, he saved my children, she snapped, her voice sharp but filled with raw emotion. Now save him. The healer nodded immediately and began working faster. Bright light spread across Evan's wounds as alien medicine entered his body. His breathing shifted, still weak but steadier. The twins didn't move from his side, their tiny hands wrapped around his arm. As if holding on to life itself, Raykor watched silently, realizing something that changed everything. This human had done what no soldier, no commander, no royal guard had been able to do. He had protected the royal heirs at the cost of his own life. And because of that, the Queen's heart, once hardened by war, had started to melt. The war itself would never be the same again. The healer worked with speed that almost looked unreal. Strange glowing threads wrapped around Evan's wounds, sealing cuts, closing deep gashes, and stopping the slow flow of blood. Each time the light touched his skin, the twins watched with wide, tear-filled eyes, afraid to blink. Evan's breathing slowly steadied, but his body was still weak. He couldn't sit up. He couldn't speak. All he could do was hold the twins' hands weakly and keep fighting to stay awake. The Queen watched everything from only a few steps away. Her face was still, but inside her chest, a storm was rising. Everything she believed, everything she fought for, everything that fueled her hatred. It was breaking apart. For years she had used rage to survive. She had used the memory of losing her children to justify a war that tore the galaxy in half. She had told herself humans were monsters, that humans stole everything from her, but the truth stood right in front of her. A human saved her children. A human protected them. A human risked everything when her own soldiers had failed. She took a shaky breath and turned to her warriors. Their armor reflected the blue glow of the healer's tools, but their faces were uncertain, confused, waiting. My Queen, Commander Raykor said carefully, what are your orders now? Her voice did not come immediately. She looked at her children, her real, living children, leaning against a dying human who had given them warmth, protection, and love. Then she looked at the warriors who served her. They had followed her blindly for years. They had killed, fought, obeyed without question. But today was different. The Queen walked to the center of the room, her long armor trailing behind her like a shadow of her old self. She stood tall, silent, powerful, but her eyes no longer held the same cold cruelty. She took one deep breath, then said words no one expected. Put down your weapons. A stunned silence filled the shelter. No one moved. Commander, she repeated, louder, stronger. Order all warriors across the valley. Put down their weapons. Raykor stared at her, stunned. My Queen. Do you mean? Yes, she cut in. The war ends now. Every warrior in the room froze. The war that shaped their childhoods. The war they trained their whole lives for. The war that took millions of lives on both sides. The war that began the day her twins went missing. It was over. Just like that. Spread the message, she continued. No more battles. No more raids. No more human executions. Her soldiers exchanged uncertain glances. Raykor swallowed. My Queen. The Council will resist. The Queen's eyes hardened. Let them resist. I am the mother of future rulers, and the mother of the rulers commands peace. Silence. Her voice softened, pain slipping in. For years, I believed humans killed my children. I let hate blind me. I let rage burn everything. But now, I know the truth. She looked directly at Evan. This human saved what all of us lost. She stepped closer to him. Evan was too weak to lift his head, but he could hear her voice, soft and shaking for the first time. "Human," she said, "I misjudged your kind. I misjudged you." The little girl, Leah, raised her head and whispered, "You promise not to hurt Daddy?" The Queen's expression broke. A tear, small and bright, escaped her eyes. "I promise," she whispered. Lio leaned forward. "You promise no more bad soldiers?" "Yes," she said again, kneeling at eye level. "No more soldiers. No more fighting. No more pain." The twins crawled toward her slowly, unsure, hesitant. When they reached her, she gently touched their cheeks. Something she had dreamed of doing for years. They didn't pull away. Something inside her shattered and healed at the same time. Raykor bowed deeply, accepting what could never be undone. "The army will follow your command, my queen." The queen lifted her head, her voice strong again. "This human will be protected. Until he recovers, he will stay under royal guard. No one will harm him. No one will question him. He is the man who saved the heirs of the Empire." The soldiers bowed. Evan's eyes slowly closed from exhaustion. But before darkness took him, he heard Leah whisper in his ear, "Daddy, you're safe now." For the first time in years, he believed it. The first thing Evan felt was warmth. Soft light touched his face. A gentle hum echoed in the air. For a moment, he didn't open his eyes because the warmth felt safe, something he hadn't felt in a long time. When he finally blinked awake, he wasn't lying on the cold metal floor anymore. He was on a soft bed. A large room shaped like a royal chamber surrounded him, built with smooth glowing stone. The air smelled clean, warm, peaceful. Strange floating lanterns drifted near the ceiling like tiny stars. His breathing felt easier. The pain in his ribs was gone, and the burning in his back had faded. Alien medicine had worked faster than anything human doctors could dream of, but none of this mattered. What mattered were the two small bodies, curled up on each side of him, Leo and Leah. Both asleep, holding onto his arms like they never wanted to let go again. Evan's chest tightened. Relief filled him so strongly that tears almost came. "They're safe. Thank God," he whispered. Before he could move, he noticed someone standing near the door. Commander Raykor, but he looked different now. His posture was lower, respectful. His weapon was not drawn. His voice was softer than Evan had ever heard. "You are awake. The heirs will be pleased." Evan blinked. "Heirs?" Raykor nodded. "Yes, you saved the royal children of our queen." Evan swallowed hard. "Royal? I just saved two scared kids." "And that," Raykor said, "is exactly why the queen owes you everything." Before Evan could respond, the door opened wider. She entered. The queen, but not the queen Evan remembered from the battlefield. Not the cold, armored ruler. Not the force of fear and authority. This time, she walked slowly, wearing softer ceremonial armor. Her face was not angry. Her eyes were not hard. She looked almost human. She stopped at the foot of the bed and studied him quietly. "You survived," she said. Evan gave a small smile. "Not sure how, but yeah, you survived," she repeated. But this time her voice carried emotion. Something fragile. Something honest. Leah stirred first. Her eyes opened, soft and sleepy. When she saw Evan awake, she gasped and hugged him tightly. "Daddy, you came back." Evan hugged her carefully, feeling his throat tighten. "I'm right here, sweetheart." Leo woke next and grabbed Evan's other arm. "You didn't leave us." His small voice almost broke Evan completely. "Never," he whispered. "I would never leave you." The queen watched them in silence, her own children. Saved. Loved, protected. By an enemy she once hated. She took a slow breath and stepped closer. Human, she said softly, you have done something no warrior of my empire has ever done. You protected my children with your life. Evan looked at her, unsure what to say. They needed me. The queen nodded. And you answered their need without fear. She paused. For that, I owe you a debt greater than I can describe. Leo and Leah turned to her. Are you still scary? Leah asked innocently. The queen's lips trembled. She lowered herself to her knees in front of them, something no one in the galaxy had ever seen. I do not wish to be scary to you, she whispered. Leo touched her hand, unsure but curious. You're our mommy? The queen's breath caught. It took her a moment to answer. Yes, she whispered. I am. The twins moved closer, touching her armor softly. The queen's eyes filled with emotions she had buried for years. She placed a gentle hand on each of their heads. Her children, alive, safe, loved. After a long moment, she looked at Evan. You are not our enemy, she said. You are the one who gave me back what war took from me. Evan exhaled slowly. I just tried to keep them alive. And in doing so, she said, you changed the fate of 2 species. She stood, her voice becoming strong again, but with warmth now. Not coldness. From this day forward, the war ends. I will not destroy a race that can produce someone like you. Ricor bowed deeply. The Empire will follow your command, my queen. She turned to Evan again. You saved my children. Now I offer you a place in their lives and in our empire. If you choose it. Leo grabbed Evan's hand tightly. Stay with us, Daddy, please. Leah pressed her forehead to his arm. We don't want to lose you. Evan's heart broke open. In that moment, he realized something simple and powerful. He had come to save 2 children. And instead, they saved him. He smiled softly, tears filling his eyes. I'll stay, he said. The twins hugged him. The queen closed her eyes in relief. And a new chapter in the galaxy began, not with war, but with a wounded human, 2 innocent children, and a queen learning how to feel again. A beginning built not on fear, but on love, courage, and unexpected family.